So welcome to the last video for Chapter 4. I just got a brand new computer this weekend, so this is going to be the first video on a new computer. So if it sounds great, then we'll compliment the new computer. If it falls apart, we'll blame the new computer. Let's see how it goes. So this section is the application of trig functions. So there's two sides to this. One is we finally get to see what all this trig is useful for, but then the other half of it is there is some algebra involved in this, and you're going to have to be careful to keep things straight as you go along. So there's not a lot of problems in here, but like I said, they do take time, but yet these are applications of all this work we've been doing so far in these last couple of chapters. So using two triangles to solve a problem. Here's the question, and there's a little diagram down the bottom to help us out. You're looking at a huge billboard on the top of the building. So you are in this picture down here. All right, there you are looking up at the billboard. So the billboard is up here. So you know how sometimes at the top of a building, especially if you go like to New York City, you'll see billboards on the tops of the buildings. So you're looking up at the top of the building, and then the billboard is setting up on the top of the building. From 400 feet away, the bottom of the billboard is an angle of elevation of 28 degrees. So the inside angle here is 28 degrees. That's where you look up and you see the roof of the building. It says the top is 40 degrees. So you crane your neck back a little bit more, and now you see the entire thing. You see the roof of the building and you see the top of the billboard. So the question is, how tall is the billboard? Well, this doesn't give me a whole lot to go on. What I do know is that there's something in common to both of these measures, which is the height of the building, which I don't know. So I'm actually going to introduce a second variable into this problem because without it, I can't do much, right? This triangle that's up here, right? This triangle up here is not a right triangle. So I don't have enough information right now to do any kind of solution with it because really all we know is right triangle trig. So let's look at the small triangle. Right? The small triangle is the one down the bottom that has a 28 degree angle. The base here is 400. The height is h. So based on the information that's contained in that triangle, there we go. I know opposite and I know adjacent, or at least I'm interested in opposite and adjacent from that 28 degree angle. So opposite and adjacent is tangent. So I get the tangent of 28 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. Okay. Let's look at the big triangle. So this is the one that goes all the way to the top of the billboard. All right, so this one goes all the way up to the top of the billboard, still 400 feet across, and this one has an angle of elevation of 40. So if I go all the way to the top of the billboard, I'm including both of these pieces here, so I'm including the h and the x, which means the height of this thing is h plus x. This thing here is still 400, so I get another tangent function, right? The tan of 40 equals h plus x over 400. So far, nothing except right triangle trig, except I've got a really messy set of equations, right? I've got the tan of 28 equals h over 400, and I got the tan of 40 equals h plus x, in other words, all the way to the top of that billboard, divided by 400. Okay, let me carry these over to a new slide so I can actually do the algebra work out separately. No, I had to make a little adjustment to the tablet, so let's see if this fixes, well, not all of my handwriting, but at least a little bit of it. So we had tan 28 equals h over 400, and then we had the tan of 40 equals h plus x over 400. So let's multiply through to get rid of those fractions. So if I multiply both sides of this equation by 400, I get 400 times the tan of 28 degrees equals h. And on this side, if I multiply both sides by 400, I get 400 times the tan of 40 degrees equals h plus x. Well, I've got a couple of options. One is just a simple substitution, and I think that might be the most straightforward thing to do, which is to say, if this thing is equal to h, then why don't I come over to this side here and replace that h with a 400 times the tan of 28 degrees. Right? And then what am I left with? I'm still left on the left-hand side with a 400 times the tan of 40 degrees. And on this side, I'm still left with a plus x. So we can get decimal approximations for both of those things, right? Keep 4 decimal places. You probably can't go wrong with that. So 400 times the tan of 40 degrees, again, make sure your calculator's in degree mode, I get 335.6399. And then on the other side, 400 times the tan of 28 degrees is 212.6838. And now just subtract this number from both sides, right? Subtract 212.6838. And those go away, and you end up with x. All right, so by my calculations, I get 122.9561, which I'm pretty safe rounding to 123. Now, the question is, what did we find and what are we looking for? The question says, how tall is the billboard? Oh, well, the billboard was x. We found x. Billboard's about 123 feet tall. Okay, so what do? We start out with two right triangles, set up trig ratios based on tangent because we either had or we were interested in opposites and adjacents. So once we did that for tangent of 28, tan of 40, then there was a little bit of algebra involved. I solved one side for h, the other side for h plus x, and then substituted one into the other. When I got done, I ended up having solved for h, or solved for x, which was what I was looking for. That was the height of the billboard. All right, similar type problem. This is a mountain problem. From where you stand, you look up at the top of a mountain with an angle of elevation of 25 degrees. You move 100 feet closer. The angle of elevation is now 40 degrees. Find the height of the mountain. All right, so there's two parts to this problem, right? Here it is, round one. That's the mountain. That's you. You look up at the top of the mountain with an angle of elevation of 25 degrees. What do we know? This is your distance between you and the mountain. That's the height of the mountain. So I really have no actual linear measurement numbers. All I have is the fact that the tangent of 25 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. And if I multiply by x, I get x times the tan of 25 equals h. So we're going to let that sit there for a minute. And we're going to change colors and come look at our mountain after we move closer 100 feet. So it says you move 100 feet closer. Well, when you move 100 feet closer, a couple things happen. First of all, the distance between you and the mountain decreases. So now, again, here you are, or here's the top of the mountain. Here you are. The distance between you and the mountain has gotten shorter. The mountain hasn't changed size, so the mountain is still h. But when you get closer to the mountain, now you got to turn your neck up higher to see the top of the mountain, so that's now 40 degrees. All right, so we got another tangent relationship. The tangent of 40 equals opposite over adjacent. All right, this thing is together. So now we multiply both sides by x minus 100. So x minus 100 tan 40 is equal to h. So you notice what I have here. I have two equations that are both set equal to the same variable. Both of them are set equal to h. So again, I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to come over and copy them onto another slide so I got some space to write. So the first line we had was x times the tan of 25 equals h. The other one we had was x minus 100 times the tan of 40 equals h. The whole key to solving this problem is, look, they both equal the same thing. They both equal h. Well, if they both equal the same thing, they must be equal to each other. So x times the tan of 25 degrees must equal x minus 100 times the tan of 40 degrees. So, good news, bad news. Good news is we got rid of one of our variables. We're now down to just having x as a variable. The bad news is we got messy trig equations. That's all right. We've survived worse. So x times the tan of 25 degrees equals over here. Remember, the tan of 40 is just a number. So we'll get x times the tan of 40 degrees minus 100 times the tan of 40 degrees. And now, subtract that x tan 40 from both sides. So I'm going to subtract an x tan 40 over here. I'm going to subtract an x tan 40 over there. So I get x tan of 25 degrees minus x times the tan of 40 degrees equals, on this side, don't lose that negative sign. Right? There's a negative sign here. Negative 100 tan 40. All right, now if you look what I did on the left-hand side, they both have an x. So factor out an x, and I get x times the tan of 25 degrees minus the tan of 40 degrees equals negative 100 tan of 40 degrees. Well, on the left side, it's just x times a number. Tan 25 minus tan 40 is just a number. I don't know what the number is, but it's a number. Right? So divide both sides by tan 25 minus tan 40. Okay, those go away, and whatever I get on the right-hand side, that's x. So let's see what we get. All right, I get x equals 225.085. And I've been working on this problem so long I forget what the question asked. It said find the height of the mountain. Oh, that ain't the height of the mountain. It's about 225 feet, but that 225 feet is not the height of the mountain. Those 225 feet are the distance between you and the base of the mountain on the first time around. But look how easy it is to get our answer. The equation up here said that x times the tan of 25 is the height. So x times the tan of 25 is the height. So grab a calculator and multiply 225 tan of 25 degrees, and I get 104.92, which admittedly is not much of a mountain, but that's what we get for the height of the mountain, about 105 feet. All right, so we ended up using trig equations twice, set them equal to each other, and then work on some algebra to find x. Once you find x, then substitute it back in. Of course, we could have gone back to the original triangle, which was 25 feet this way. You had 225 over here and h over there. So if you did tan 25 equals h over 225, you would then do 225 tan 25, and that would give you your height. All right, let's stop here. We'll make a second video for the second part.